Happy New Year, POW Pro Wrestling fans. Brian Zane and Mr. Ooh La La back at it with some more POW Pro Wrestling action. Mr. 2022 was a hell of a year for POW. I saw you kind of looking back there. Now that I see that, what is that vacant? The vacant buddy you were mentioning?
You've heard of Elf on a Shelf, where you can't put vacant in a corner. There's nothing really that slips off the tongue, rolls off the tongue eloquently with vacant. But you can't put vacant in the corner. He's still looming nearby, ready to strike.
Yeah.
Upon you and your YouTube title associates, I think.
Well, I guess, yeah, the essence of vacant, the spirit of vacant is going to be watching us for the time being. But, Mr., like I said, 2022 was unparalleled for POW Pro Wrestling. And before we put that year behind us and move on to the future of POW in the year 2023, we've got the first ever POWies, Mr.
Correct, you are the 2022 POWies, the year-end awards for us here at POW Pro Wrestling, and we have 6 exciting categories, starting with the little beep squeaks with the younglings, the Rookie of the Year.
We have a lot of fresh faces in POW Pro Wrestling, really dazzling and wowing the audiences, making their mark and making their impact in a relatively short amount of time. I like this field of competitors.
Right, and they have almost all been supplied exclusively from the great Oregon Pro Wrestling School up there near Portland, run by the Midnight Heat. They have provided us, as I've told Ricky Gibson before, he puts out a good product, and that's exemplified with these candidates for the Rookie of the Year. We have Charlie Abel, we have the Flaming Aison, we have Amira, we have the Hammer Brothers, and your favorite neighborhood homeboy, Chris Brady, who of course challenged for the POW Pro Wrestling Championship against...
You know, we're gonna have to keep this show going with maybe, you know, if I... you're gonna have to be able to actually say these competitors' names, mister, if you want to be able to stay at co-host.
Well, I've had a long sojourn there in POWie, you know, we've been putting back the bubbly and maybe, you know, taking some mescaline and wandering around in the Parisian desert, so I'm still trying to get all my affairs back in order in the old ding-dong up here, huh?
Well, some of us celebrated our holidays a bit differently than others. But folks, Rookie of the Year category, it's filled with some great contenders. We're going to show you highlights of all the candidates right now.
What an incredible litany of candidates there for the Rookie of the Year. And I'll tell you, I wouldn't vote for any one of them, but I really would never ever vote for those blue-collar scumbags, the Hammer Brothers.
Well, that's your opinion, mister, but of course there's some great candidates there like you saw in those highlights. If we are making predictions here, I think my vote would go to Chris Brady for the year he's had, how in such a short time he's risen through the ranks. He won the Blair Alley Wrestle Rally, and like you mentioned, he challenged Funny Bone for the POW Pro Wrestling Championship in a very valiant effort. But of course, what really matters, mister, more than your voice or my voice, is the voice of you, the viewers. It's time for you to make your voices heard in the POWies and let us know who you think should win all the categories. Go vote in the link in the description. You have until January 31st to make your voices heard, and of course we'll announce the winners right here on POW Pro Wrestling. But mister, moving on from Rookie of the Year, time to have double your pleasure. I'm talking about Tag Team of the Year. Of course, the tag team division here at POW Pro Wrestling is one of our strong suits as we are hurtling toward the POW Pro Wrestling Tag Team Championship Tournament.
That's right, and we don't even need to list out the candidates. We know who's going to win, don't we? Baba, who do you think's going to win? I think we're going to win, yeah! Jay, who do you think's going to win? We're going to win, Jack Daddy, baby! Wow. The Blanche is coming through, I think. Although, for the sake of posterity, we also have the C4, Guillermo Roses and Cody Chan, the Midnight Heat, the Flaming Assholes, and the Hammer Brother.
By the way, good impressions. For a minute, for a split second, I thought that Jeremy and Bubba were actually right here at Regret HQ.
Well, you know, we are like this. We may, in fact, be distantly related, although I don't want to say anything on the record. We're not being recorded here. Nobody's recording us. There's no secret bug. I hear a certain buzzing in my ear.
No, no, mister. No recording devices at
No
all
recording.
here on POW Pro Wrestling. A lot of fun watching those highlights, reliving the high points of the tag division here at POW Pro Wrestling. So many great teams to choose from. Now, mister, I know you've already, picked your horse for this race. In my opinion, it's going to be a toss-up between the Hammer Brothers, who I know that you don't have very good feelings for, and also C4. I think they're such a, Guillermo Rosas, Cody Chun, they are a dynamic tag team that really have the crowd in the palm of their hands every time they go out there, and they have a great combination of technical ability and high flying and power moves as well. But like Hammer Brothers are one of the most popular acts I've ever seen in all my years in wrestling.
But who'd they ever beat, huh? Who'd they ever beat?
They are a young up and coming tag team to be sure.
Up and comings for losers, I think. Eh?
Man, watch your tone, especially with the Flaming Aces. I heard what you said earlier about them. Folks, of course, the power lies in your hands in regards to who's going to win the POWie for Tag Team of the Year and all the categories we have this year for the 22 POWies. Go to the link in the description. You have until January 31st to vote. Make your voice heard. We want to know what you think about POW and, of course, who you think is going to represent the company going forward into the year 2023.
And I must remind everybody of the very stringent registration process we have. Now, when you register, you give your name, the email, and then screenshots of a ticket to every POW event we had this year. No freeloaders. You have to have attended every single POW event for your vote to count.
No, mister, that's not true. That's not true. Anybody can vote. I mean, you gotta watch all the shows, of course, get yourself informed, of course. Go back to the back catalog on the YouTube channel and watch all the great action from POW in the last year and make your decision. Make your informed decision as to who should win the POWies. Of course, next week, mister, we got more action, more highlights from more candidates here. Some interesting categories here, folks. We got the most popular wrestler, and mister, you might know your way around this one, the most hated wrestler.
I beg your pardon. Because clearly Vincenzo Massaro is going to be number one for the most popular. You see all his groupies he had out that valley, huh?
Yeah, I think I know what you might be alluding to, mister, but...
I mean, after our match, you literally had to go on the mic and say, ladies, Vincenzo Massaro has left the building. There's no reason to fuss or fight over him. He's gone. He's back to his penthouse suite.
Your memory is astounding, mister. Well, folks, that's going to be happening next
This is
week.
my little memory cap here.
Until then, folks, for Mr. Ooh La La, I'm Brian Zane, and it's going to be a hell of a 2023.
Vote!